Folks, Ryan Engle here for my close personal friends at Howie's Market. If you've heard us talking up Howie's Market for months on end, it's because this lovely grocery store in the San Gabriel Valley has supported us for months on end. You've already heard how Howie's Market is an award-winning butcher with the best selection of meat, seafood, spirits, wine, craft beer, and everyday groceries. And you already know that their store is a finely curated, timeless market that checks every box for aesthetics. But it's really the people at Howie's that separates them from everyone else. We love these folks with all our hearts, and we want you to love them too. If you don't live anywhere near the joint, please give them a follow on Instagram and show them that their support of this podcast is making a difference. And if you do live around the market, drop on in and tell them the Nation Golf Company sent you. You won't regret it. 6580 North San Gabriel Boulevard, open 7 days a week. And barbecuing every Saturday and Sunday in the parking lot, rain or shine.
If the stock market was my golf handicap, we would all be rich. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fellowship. My name is Adam. Used to be an 11, and now I'm a 13.2. Hawk?
Whoa!
He is Ryan. Used to be a 1.4 and is now a 2.4 Engle.
You love to see it.
As the old saying goes, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. You never stay the same. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Maybe.
That's something that every football coach in America probably has in the locker room because it motivates their guys as they walk through to make sure they get the lift in and all the stuff they don't want to do. Because if you're...
And how do you know this? You've been in a locker room? Big locker room guy, Adam Hawk.
I've probably been in more locker rooms than you, given my media background.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying I was a player in those locker rooms, but considering football is the most cheesed sport in the world, and you have to reach for any kind of motivation to keep these guys going.
To keep them going.
Don't you think?
Sure.
That's definitely a quote that would be in a football locker room. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. You never stay the same.
Well, I mean, you would know. You've been in way more locker rooms than me. You know?
Why are you coming at me about the football thing?
I'm not coming at anybody. Why are you so defensive?
Because you're putting me on my back feet right off the jump.
What? Just relax. Dude.
All I asked is if you agreed with that quote.
I said maybe.
Maybe. Okay, very good.
What more do you want from me here?
I want you to answer this question. What 3 things in your life right now are you getting better at? And then I'm going to ask you, what 3 things in your life are you getting worse at?
Yeah, did a little thinking. Getting a little better at my patience. Working on my patience hard. It's hard when you're impatient. So, patience is patience. When you're working on your impatience, you're working on your patience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
And there's a lot more work to do, but it's nice. It's actually been frustrating because when you start realizing and you're, taking an honest inventory look, a little snapshot, you start seeing where it's happening, and so it's like now you're more aware of it. So it's equally as maddening because you're like, whoa, okay.
Isn't that the worst part of growth?
It really is. It's like the hardest part because it's like, holy shit, wait, let me work out for 6 months. I'm not ready to look in the mirror yet.
Well, right. But also when you are trying to do anything in your life where you are improving or want to improve, you could take 3 steps forward in the right direction, but 1 step back always feels like 10 steps back because you're just so much more aware of what you don't want to be doing that it hurts more to break the forward momentum than it feels good to keep going forward. The net positive on 3 steps forward, 1 step back is 2 steps forward, but it feels like -7.
Was that a little Paula Abdul shout out right there?
I'm unfamiliar. Did I accidentally stumble into a Paula Abdul lyric?
Yeah. I think 2 steps forward, 2 steps back.
I only know Paula Abdul from American Idol.
Right.
as a judge.
Right.
I
Early on.
Yeah, right. I had no idea that she had any sort of musical background.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a 80s pop artist for a brief hot minute. She had a hot single.
And you were like 20 when that came out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. 18. So yeah, there's 1, working on my patience. 2, been getting better at just the snapshot. The
Like
patient.
taking pictures?
No, like the patience is like, I guess I should have led with this, but it's like the overall snapshot of what that I need to grow completely with, So it's like, it's almost like I'm getting better at like stepping back and looking from a broader viewpoint, getting up to 30,000 feet and going, oh, which has helped with the patience, the stress. You have all this shit going on, and we spend so much time just digging one hole over and over again and just like focusing so hard thing, and you're just like, whoa, dude, like just step back a little bit. And that's part of the patience thing too. I was given this analogy the other day, and I think I might have said it on here before, but it's like trying to carry all the groceries in one trip rather than just going, okay, pal, one bag at a time, come back for it. And so I'm getting better at instead of like shooting from the hips kind of my thing, but there are a lot of places where that doesn't do me good.
You certainly are not getting better at brevity. Your third thing that you're getting better at.
Yeah, well, I need to work on that, but we got to fill a spot, Dad. That's what they call that in the business.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
And then the last thing is specifically towards my daughter, and it's when her emotions are bigger or she's trying to communicate, rather than getting frustrated or whatever, like trying to just like be more calm and get into her like communication level, like taking a knee, getting eye level, like calmly trying to figure out what it. I'm getting better at that rather than just being like, Palmer, no. Because I feel like her biggest frustration at that age is the fact that her brain's going fast and she kind of knows what she either wants or wants to say or whatever, but the communication, there's a barrier there. It's almost like a language barrier in a sense, and I'm trying to be there to help her through that a little bit better and fight through that. And so those are probably the 3 biggest things I've been working on.
That you're getting better at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I thought long and hard about 3 things I'm getting worse at.
Oh, really? How did you know to think about those things?
Because you texted me last night, hey, be ready for these.
Are we not going to get into the 3 things that I've been getting better at?
Oh, I thought we were going all the way through and then over to you. Let's do you then. What are the 3 things you've been working on, Adam?
Well, that I'm getting better
at.
This whole
thing.
This whole topic was based off of the fact that my handicap was going up, which led me into you're getting better or you're getting worse. And then
you're getting a lot worse.
At?
Golf.
Well, that's on my list when we get to what we're getting worse at.
You know what's crazy about golf, if I can take another minute here, is
I'll time you.
I am better at every type of shot or skill set or whatever, whether it's short game, putting, tee to green, all this stuff, knowing what shots to play in certain trouble or situations or whatever, like, and on paper and handicap wise for sure, I've gotten worse. And the scoring hasn't been as good, and that's really crazy because it just shows how diabolical the game actually is.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm a better player than I've ever been, and I was scratched for a brief moment in time, and I was a 1 for a long time, and then in front of that, like a 2 for a long time. So on paper, you would say, oh, that was when you played your best golf, but like I would disagree. I'm a way better player than I was then, and it's just, how do you quantify that? How do you even like make that argument? There's so much feel in golf, and there's so much stuff that happens that doesn't get on the stat sheet. And at the end of the day, if you're not making a lot more birdies to correct those mistakes, or just having essentially the putts go in more, it's not going to show. It all comes down to fucking putting, dude. Like at every level, whether you're trying to get to a 9 or I'm trying to get back to a 0, or a 0 is trying to get to a +4. Like, you can go to the range and swing your fucking life away and get a coach and video your fucking, your shallowness or whatever, you know. But ultimately, you're not going to make that next thing until the ball starts going in the hole more. That it's literally all about putting, which is why I think you need to get a lab putter and bring in aim point, maybe a broomstick. I don't know. All
Right.
three, take it away.
Okay, thank you. I am fighting a little bit of a sickness.
Oh, yeah, you're sick for sure.
If you make me laugh, it's just going to turn into a cough. So when you got to the lab putter part, apologize for coughing. Okay, 3 things I'm getting better at. I'm getting better at not gossiping. Boy, what an earnest start to this podcast.
It's easier when you don't hang out with people.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
I've made it a point in my life to cut out gossip.
Good job. So you also cut out hanging out with your friends?
No, that's not true. I've just cut out the gossip part.
Maybe.
No, I have. Your thoughts?
Good for you.
Good for you. I realized that so much of my conversational currency was gossiping, and I think a lot of people might relate. It's a really easy thing to slip into, and even if you don't have bad intentions, I think we are wired to want to be disseminators of interesting information. It's why the news rarely focuses on good stories, because the bad ones are more interesting, and that trickles down into how we talk with our friends. We love to get a laugh at someone's expense behind their back, or get a gasp by sharing someone else's struggles. And I candidly did that a lot, but I've really tried to rid that from my life. And I have over the past few months, and it's brought me a lot of peace. And people notice too. People notice when you don't engage in it, because it happens so often. And when you are purposeful about not continuing on that conversation, or excusing yourself from it, or passively shutting it down, people are like, wow, that guy is not going to go down this road with me.
Yeah. That's a big blanket you just laid over all that stuff.
What do you mean?
Well, there's nuance to, there's a cheeky,
Sure.
jabbing, holding your friends accountable. I guess you would consider that gossip.
No, I wouldn't. If it's cheeky and you're holding someone accountable, that's called accountability and humor.
Yeah, I think there's more nuance to it. I think if you're gossiping for the sake of being not great, then
Malicious, slanderous.
That's yes. But I've never known you to do that anyways.
Well, and I appreciate you having
and there's
that kind of...
there's stuff like where we talk about, you know, if we're being critical of a brand or its execution, it's in a business sense where it's like we're using that as our own guiding lights and awareness. If it's not like we're going to go around and say something about that brand to, you know, some random person in the checkout line at the market, you know what I mean? So I think there's I get what you're saying, but I think there's an infinite amount of situations and nuance inside of that I don't know, like, yeah, good. Okay. I don't think you did that to begin with. So,
Well, again, I appreciate your memory of how I used to conduct myself. Thank you very much. And I agree with you that there are nuances in how you speak about people when they're not around. But more often than not, when people are speaking about people when they're not around and they're looking for a gasp or a laugh, it rarely is anything other than gossip. Hey, did you hear that this guy's going through some troubles in his marriage? Did you hear about this credit card debt? Did you hear that he's a bad parent? Blah, blah, blah. None of that's good. None of that should be spread. If you're constructively criticizing another brand with your business partner so you don't make the same mistake that they did, that's different.
So who's going to make the hot takes on this podcast now? Just me?
Hot takes aren't gossip. We're doing it in front of the world right now. We're recording into microphones. This is not secret slanderous talk.
I have a pretty good rule for myself that I try to implement that, you know, a lot of people probably take what I say out of context or think about my character in a way that's not necessarily true. But I have a rule where, you know, if you're going to poke fun or say anything about anyone, it should be something that you would actually say to them too. And I think I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah, you're a little too good at saying those things to people's faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely not a behind the back guy, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm a bounce pass right in front of you.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
No Pistol Pete over here.
I'm also getting better at managing people, and this is something that I have to do at the SCGA and something I have to do at Nation Golf as the Chief Operations Officer, and I really sucked at it at both places, here and at the SCGA, the first quarter of this year, because I've never really done it before. But I am putting in the effort and seeing returns, and I'm excited about becoming a better manager of people.
Great.
Do you agree with that assessment?
I would agree with that.
Well, thank you. And finally, and most importantly, I'm getting better at tennis, which, let's be honest, is the only thing I care about right now. I had a New Year's resolution to play more tennis. I found my way into a Wednesday night group. I've been going out the last 2 months every week, and the game has just come back to me. I don't like to compare myself to Roger Federer, but other people do, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I'm glad you found something that gives you some athletic joy, knowing that you're not very much an athletic person. You know what I mean? So it's nice that you're scratching that itch. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. What gives you athletic joy?
Athletic joy. I think just playing some golf.
What about surfing? Are you still
Yeah.
Are you still good at it?
Yeah, I surfed over Memorial Weekend, and kid got a couple good waves.
Is that right?
Yeah. It was actually funny. The first wave I got, I was like, oh, what's changed? I just paddle a little slower, you know? Still on my feet.
Yeah.
Still got control of this board, and I'm still going to hit this lip.
That's awesome, man.
You know?
Yeah, that's cool. Good for you.
No, it was fun. We had a bunch of families down there, and there was actually waves, which, you know, Doho is usually like a very small wave spot. It's a learner's kind of wave, you know, and which is great for families and young kids. And when there's actually a swell that hits there, and you're a surfing family, it's nice when the dads can go out and actually get a wave that's big enough to push them, you know. And so the dads were stoked over Memorial Day. It was kind of like. Felt good. Doesn't happen often, but it was nice to do that and see, you know, Dex and a bunch of my other friends who have kids out there in the water. It was fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
What are the 3 things you're getting worse at?
I thought about this.
I hope that you did.
And you can gossip to me all you want to my face.
That would not be gossip.
I don't think I'm getting worse at anything.
Okay.
I really don't. The way my mind works, and I'm like kind of a problem solver. I think about improving the functionality of how I do every little thing, from making the coffee to whatever. It's like this processed mind that I've ingrained from shaping surfboards, where I look at things in like and then I critique myself. I'm really hard on myself, and so I try to do it differently next time until I get it right, or I think about the process of things and I don't think I've gotten worse at anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, good for you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you've gotten worse at, except for one thing, and it's funny you did bring up coffee. I know you're experimenting with a new dark roast of U-Ban. Not your best pot.
Well, it's different beans.
That's what I'm saying. I know you're experimenting.
Well, it's a different taste too. So it might not be me.
I think there's too much water in this.
Okay.
So
you wouldn't know because you don't drink coffee anymore.
That's not true.
Yeah. You've gotten worse at drinking coffee.
That is true, because my coffee maker broke at the house, and then I had a fever from coffee withdrawals. That is a true story. I'm getting worse at golf. I suck at it right now. I can't keep the ball on the planet off the tee box, and that makes every hole a grind for bogey, because I'm either dropping or slapping it back into play and then trying for a miracle par or a working man's bogey. And the whole game has just gone sideways for me because of the driving aspect. You can't play the game of golf if you're always in the tree line. It's tough. Another thing I'm getting worse at, diet and exercise.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm getting worse at that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm aware of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and I'm going to work on that.
Yep. Great.
You heard it here first.
Let's work on it together. Besides the Wednesday night tennis, I am sitting down most of the day, and I am eating absolute garbage.
You got office chair butt?
Yeah, and Corolla chair butt.
Corolla chair butt.
Sure. Couch chair butt. Top dog chair butt.
The seat in your Corolla is not much of a chair. It's more like a chaise lounge, you know?
Yeah. It's all catching up with me. I hate it. And when we got back the photos from the Nation Desert Classic for the 4th year in a row, I was pretty appalled. So I'm hoping sometime soon to move diet and exercise up into the getting better column. And since we've started out on a really honest foot, this podcast, which I did not anticipate, thought you would go for some comedy, but you just went for 3 very serious, I'm getting better at perspective, I'm getting better at parenting, I'm getting better at patience.
It wasn't funny when I said I'm not getting worse at anything?
No, that was good.
Thanks.
Took us 20 minutes to get to one joke, but appreciate it.
Well, that's what happens when you try to write magic, Adam.
Yeah.
You know?
But since we are on a very honest foot, I will say this. One thing that I'm getting worse at is prioritizing. I have a lot going on, more than I should, and it comes at the expense of my family, especially my wife. God bless her. But I need to learn the power of saying no. This is something you've told me for a long time. This is something she has told me for a long time. But let me just ask the listening audience a favor. If we are friends, and you're listening to this right now, please do me a solid. Don't invite me to anything ever again. Just don't. I love you. I want to hang out. I wish there were 48 hours in the day instead of 24. I wish I could clone myself. I wish I could make everyone happy and support everyone's everything. But I can't. And even though I can't, I suck at saying no. So just do me the favor. And while I am learning to say no, help me out by not giving me the opportunity to say yes. God bless y'all. Why are you shaking your head with your eyes closed?
God, you're an idiot.
Why?
You stupid idiot, dude.
Stupid idiot.
What did I do?
Your problem isn't any of that shit. It's that you say yes to all the dumbest shit, which, yes, I guess you're right, comes down to prioritizing. But you have been invited and given the opportunity to succeed socially with both you and your family so many times, and you find I would argue that you might find pleasure in locating the best excuse to say no. So you say no to everything that you should be saying yes to, and you say yes to everything that you should be putting further down the prioritizing
You know
list.
what? You know what?
That's the truth.
No.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Let me let everyone in on
And it's not just me that thinks that, because we've been doing a lot of gossiping about you, and there's a lot of people who share my my thoughts here. Your thoughts?
Oh, man. Finally, some humor. That was great.
You asked for it.
No, thank you for that. I needed that.
Yeah, you do. What you need to do is, prioritize the fun, brother.
I want you to shut the heck up for 90 seconds.
Right.
Because what is happening here, dear listening audience, is that Engle is bringing up a very specific invitation that he lobbed my way on Memorial Day.
No, I'm bringing up one.
You could not.
One of many situations. This is an infinite amount of invitations. That's just, you're just bringing up the nail in the coffin, dude.
You couldn't lay out for 90 seconds.
No, because I have to stick up for this.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
You are so self-aware. Everything you invite me to is heinously far away to do something that I don't want to do.
You don't think your kids want to go and play in the sand with a bunch of families on Memorial Day?
Hey, I have to make a decision based on if it works for the parents who ultimately drive this entire thing and have to wear this entire thing. By the way, when you invited me to come down to the beach 40 miles away on a holiday, we were just coming off of a trip to San Diego.
In which you blew it on that one too. This is exactly what I said. You have perfected coming up with the best excuse.
No, you have perfected.
You said it just right there. You just put the answer in front of everyone saying that it doesn't make sense to you. You're making this about you instead of your family's experience. And
my wife doesn't want to do this stuff. And my kids are too young to care. They go with the flow of what their parents are doing.
Kids at that age, from age 3 until they're ready to be a teenager and don't like you anymore, all they want to do is play at the beach. Every kid in the fucking world. You go to a beach, you set your chair down, you put your umbrella up, and you sit there and your kids go sit right in front of you, play in the sand for hours until you say it's time to go home, and they say, I don't want to, I want to stay longer. Happens every single time. And all you know what you get to do is sit there, because it's the only place in the world where they're completely engulfed in just what's happening there, and they leave you the fuck alone. It's the greatest place for a family in the universe.
Do you see how I lay out and let you go? Now you're going to let me go. Okay, partner? First off, you, father of one with child younger than me, does not get to tell me anything about parenting. Despite the fact that you're older than me, I am further down the parenting road with more kids. Okay?
Okay.
Second, my wife is not a beach person. I am not a beach person.
That's not what she said the last time you guys came.
Would you?
I'm just saying.
Shut.
You're lying. You're lying right
up.
now. You're lying right now. You're not telling the whole truth.
You're a former pro surfer and your wife's from Hawaii, and you guys live 2 minutes from the beach. Which family do you think likes it and is more inclined to go? Just out of curiosity. I'm from Seattle. You don't see me inviting you to do heroin and drink coffee because I know you don't want to do it. Nothing?
Nothing.
Crickets. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
That
great.
one didn't land.
Okay. Well, that's fine. That's fine. You think that you have a full picture of something that you can barely even see.
What did you guys do on Memorial Day?
I can't even remember. It was weeks ago. I know this,
I know this. While we were at the beach with literally probably 12 other families with children.
Cool.
Having an amazing, amazing time. Every now and then, I check your location just to see if you've moved. And you didn't move all day. I saw your street, East Commonwealth or wherever the fuck it is down there, you know. And I was like, this guy is staying home all day on Memorial Day?
This guy
Yeah.
just came off of a 2-day jaunt to San Diego. This guy has kids to get ready for school. This guy has 2 jobs to get ready for. This guy has things to do. And this guy who
has the best excuses in the game.
This guy who loves his wife asked, do you have any interest in doubling back to where we just came from?
That wasn't where you just came from.
We drove by it on the way down to San Diego. Hey, babe, do you want to
About
go
a third the way there?
You want to go to South Orange County today? Get the kids back in the car, load everything up, go be a couple of idiots at the beach and drag all this sand back with us? You want to do that? You want to drive an hour and a half each way and look for parking on Memorial Day? No? Okay.
Well, if you're further down the road in parenting than me, I don't want to go down the road you're fucking on, pal. Because that sounds awful.
Engle, you don't want to go down anybody's road for anything.
I was in San Diego the same day you were, and we were supposed to meet at the beach that day, but we couldn't. And why is that, Adam?
Because I let my
because
family
you
sleep
chose,
in. I let my family sleep in.
You chose wrong.
Look, pal.
You chose wrong.
Look.
You can own it right now and just say, I fucking blew it.
I'm not going to own it.
Well,
Because
you blew it.
the night before, I said to my family,
you blew it.
Do you want to have a slow?
You blew it. You blew it, and I'll say it for you. That's okay. We're good enough friends where I can speak for you on certain things. And
look,
Adam Hawk blew it on Memorial Day, and he took away his children's joy on Monday as well. And that's okay. And this is something that you need to work on. And I'm a big Adam Hawk guy. I will support you through this, getting better at these bad decisions and finding the best excuse. We're going to work on that. And I'm going to help you through this, pal.
Okay.
Okay.
And I will
Got your
equally
back.
help you through thinking that everyone else is doing it wrong and you only have the right
never
way,
said that.
and
That's
that
an
everyone has
assumption.
your circumstances,
That's an
and that
assumption.
everyone else has no boss and lives close to the beach and
that's an
has a wife
assumption.
who's in her own business and can set her own hours and only has one kid and has 2 live-in babysitters.
You guys hear this expert excuse finder right here?
I will help you start to realize.
You're like the guy on the beach with the headphones and the metal detector, just looking for excuses, dude. Oh, got a big one. Okay, what's the next topic?
You feel good about that?
No, I don't. I'm just trying to hang out with my friend. You know, that's all I'm trying to do.
On your terms in your neighborhood.
I mean, it's Memorial Day. Most people go to the beach. I was inviting you to the thing, you know.
Do you want to take a poll? An impromptu poll of beach people versus non-beach people? I don't like the beach. I'm not a beach guy. We don't have beach gear. We don't go drop anchor and sit there and watch the waves lap up onto the shore. Sure, it looks nice on my screensaver. Sure, it's a great time if you live right there.
I don't think you're I don't think you're getting the people in your corner you think you're getting right now.
I don't think you're getting the people in your corner.
I doubt it.
So you think you're winning this?
I think I won this. Look, got to make plans.
You know what? We haven't seen each other in 2 weeks, so we're just making up for lost time here.
Yeah. Well, I tried to see you.
Yeah.
I tried to see you twice. You know, maybe I will stop inviting you because those invitations are like
Obligations?
they're like boomerangs, dude. They just come back and hit me in the face, dude.
They come back and hit me in the face because it's either yes or you're the worst dad in the world. I cannot believe.
Never said that. You're making assumptions.
You would literally say
Don't
that.
confuse assumptions with finding good excuses. You're great at finding good excuses. Your assumptions are shit.
That was a double insult.
Your thoughts?
I just gave them to you.
Wow, he's fired up, folks. Look at him.
No, I'm
U-Ban
not.
Dark. U-Ban Dark.
Yeah, it's a good dark roast of coffee. I'm not fired up. I am so, and this is going to be it. You do not get a rebuttal to this because the listening audience is so exhausted by this. But I want you to know, even though you will never come to accept it, that your opinion of how I parent my children does not even register in any part of my mind, body, heart, soul. Because you base your opinion on how I parent my children based off of your opinion of how I live my life. And how I live my life has always been something that you have never agreed with or gotten down with because it's not how you live your life. And you live your life very locally based around your circumstances.
Look, you chose to live where you want. That you have to drive everywhere, far, to go do things. That's your choice. I'm just inviting you to the things that your kids would enjoy. I'm not assuming anything about your parenting skills. I know nothing about your parenting skills, but I do know this. Your choices, multiple times since we've known each other, have affected the fun that your kids could have.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to help.
Yeah, thank you.
They call me Mr. Olive Branch. And I got long limbs and they're going as far as Fullerton, California, dude. And that I will continue to invite you and the listeners will continue to hear the best excuses ever found for not coming. I'm just going to start inviting Mina.
She's going to say no.
I'm just going to invite her.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to leave you out of it. I'll send you guys an Uber next time.
We're done.
Nope.
I do want to tell
Not
this
done.
story.
We're not done.
I spent Memorial Day in San Diego, California.
No, you didn't.
Memorial Day weekend.
Yep. I'm just getting the facts straight, pal.
Thank you. Spent Memorial Day weekend in San Diego, California with our close personal family friends, the Bickerts, and attended their daughter's first communion. Lovely weekend. Really enjoyed it. The night before, I had one of those nights where you are so overserved that you swear the next morning you will never drink again. And you say that to anyone that will reluctantly listen. The night before the communion, Saturday night, we were at the Bickert's house with a handful of other families, and I brought 3 bottles of Pliny the Elder. Are you familiar with Pliny the Elder?
No.
It's a giant IPA from Russian River up in central northern California, regarded as one of the greatest beers ever made. It's like a 9%er, though.
That's not beer. That's fucking barley wine. That's what that is.
I brought 3 bottles to share, but I ended up drinking them all to myself and very quickly.
Oh, no one saw that coming.
Then I had half a bottle of Basil Hayden to myself very quickly. And I did all of this while debating every Catholic there as the lone Protestant. And we were debating on the merits of praying to Mary, having a pope, and infant baptisms. And I was just slurring my words while quoting scripture the night before our first communion, of which I was a guest. Total jackwagon behavior.
Love that, though.
Yeah.
Passion.
Yes.
They call that the Passion of the Christ, just in case you guys didn't know that.
So I stumble out of this house. My wife had to drive. Kids in the back seat. Mina's having to drive through San Diego in the dark. Most confusing downtown ever. All the streets are named by a letter. A Street, B Street, C Street. One ways everywhere. Trains that go through neighborhoods.
Zombie apocalypse.
There you go. Commercial airplanes that buzz apartment buildings. We get to the hotel parking lot. And mind you, I don't remember any of this. It was told to me the next day. But apparently I kept asking my wife if I could drive. Because we were in a 5-story parking lot and there were no spaces available because we got back so late to the hotel. And the only ones that were available were too hard to squeeze into because these were the world's smallest spots. And apparently I'm telling my wife, pull the car over. Let me do it. I'll park. Let me do this. Give me the keys. I don't remember any of this. Eventually, the valet people at the hotel just told her to park in the valet spots. Could you imagine if I was in the driver's seat when another human had to make contact with our car and tell us where to park? Again, I don't remember any of this, but my 8-year-old daughter told me the next day that I kept asking the family the entire way from the car to the hotel room, who wants dessert? Anyone want dessert?
Wow.
Apparently, they told me no 8 to 10 times. When I woke up the next morning, I was so embarrassed and ashamed to be around all the same people from the Bickert house at a church for the first communion. So I made the rounds and apologized. Guess what? There is no better group in the world to heavily drink with the night before church and then be saddled with guilt and get instant forgiveness than Irish Catholics. Instant forgiveness. And so I want to say, from this Protestant to those Catholics, we may have our disagreements about the 5 to 10% of our two faiths that don't line up, but I'm here to make peace between the Protestants and the Catholics because of the peace that was extended to me Sunday morning. And speaking of that Sunday morning, beautiful church, beautiful service, beautiful day. And I really appreciated being a part of it. And on the way home, made a detour, stopped in Poway, California, visited my childhood home, the hospital where I was born, my elementary school, and an old park in my neighborhood. I thought the family would really, really like to see where it all started. They were mildly entertained at best.
Yeah. Sounds like, you did a lot of things you wanted to do that weekend. That's great. Here are these beers for everyone that I'm going to drink and some Basil Hayden, and let me talk about what I want to talk about, and I want dessert, and hey, come look where I want to look. Okay, let's go home. No, I don't like the beach. Wow, that's just okay. Like I said, dude, it's like a metal detector. And that's it, folks.
No, I'll give you this one.
That's it.
I'll give you this one. You absolutely nailed it on this one. Still had a good time, though.
Well, I'm sure you did.
When we did get back, I looked at me and I said, that was a great trip, huh? And she's like,
Fucking idiot.
She was like, parts of it were good.
Wow.
I'm going to race through this next take because
You just do what you want. Do what makes you happy.
Okay.
Adam, you deserve it.
I'm excited for your reaction to it. But let me get through this because I'm so bored by the topic that I don't even want to talk about it. Scottie Scheffler wins again, this time at the Memorial, which is an ironic name considering there is nothing memorable about the PGA Tour anymore. This is Scottie's 16th PGA Tour victory in what feels like the last 2 weeks, but I guess this guy's run has spanned 3 years and 3 months now. It's incredible, it's historic, and yet it is somehow the most boring thing I have ever seen in golf.
Why do you say that?
I'm going to get there, and it's to no fault of Scottie Scheffler. Now, folks, I understand that we can sound like a broken record around here. I know you probably have to wonder, why do these guys even talk about pro golf if they seem to hate it so much? I want to make it very clear that it is because I absolutely love and have loved pro golf for my entire life that I have to document, honestly, its rapid descent into the seventh layer of paint drying hell. I used to block out large parts of my weekends to watch golf. As sick as that sounds, I used to do it up until very recently. I don't do that anymore, but I used to stream pro golf on my computer screen before the TV coverage would kick in on Saturday and Sunday. I was a tour sicko. But something I said a long time ago on this very podcast is bearing prophetic fruit right now. I said word for word many times, and wrote it in an award-winning article for Ford Magazine, that all of the PGA Tour players defecting to Live Golf was hurting the PGA Tour more than it was helping Live Golf. Consider that statement for 1 second and marinate on it, because what you have when something hurts one thing more than it helps another is a quintessential lose-lose. One thing gets worse while another thing doesn't get better. Live Golf in 2025 is still as laughable and unwatchable as it's ever been. Whether it's on the CW or Fox Sports, it doesn't matter. It's a joke, and no one is even around to hear the punchline. Meanwhile, the PGA Tour is missing half a dozen superstars that are doing nothing for Live but have left a black hole on their old circuit. Before I dismount this soapbox, I want this to really sink in because it must be said and it must be understood, and no one is talking about it. Scottie Scheffler's 3-year historic run directly, and I mean directly, lines up on the timeline with the launch of Live Golf. What does that mean? That is for you to decide and reconcile, but some of the obvious questions would be, does this make his wins less impressive? Does it make his run less potent and valuable? Does it downgrade the history he's made? All of that is debatable, but here's what's not debatable. It makes it all a lot more boring because Scottie Scheffler does not have a rival. And because on Sunday, when he's coming down the home stretch of a big-time tournament, he's fending off Ben Griffin, Nick Taylor, and Sepp Straka. Not Brooks Koepka or Bryson DeChambeau or John Rahm. Ben Griffin, Nick Taylor, and Sepp Straka. Jack Nicklaus himself said it after the tournament that Scottie didn't have to do anything on the back nine because those guys aren't in his league. And on a very precious Sunday afternoon where my options for entertainment are unlimited, do I want to watch guys not in Scottie Scheffler's league lose by 5 shots because the potential guys in his league went to Live Golf? No, I do not. And neither do you. So let's just be very honest about the situation. The greatest run in golf since Tiger Woods is happening at the worst time in golf ever. Your eyes are not deceiving you. This is boring because no one is there to make it interesting. at least not on a consistent basis. This isn't hate. This is truth, and it's coming from someone who badly doesn't want to face it, but I have to. I am very, very close to becoming one of those pro golf fans who only watches the majors, because Live Golf took a pound of flesh from the tour, and that wound is finally starting to show. It didn't make Live Golf any better, but it sure made the PGA Tour a whole lot worse. It is a lose-lose, and I hate to say I told you so to myself, of all people, but I told you so.
That's a very biased and emotional way of looking at it. Obviously, there's data and nuance to everything you just said. I'll say this. There's only two guys that took the flesh away from the PGA Tour, and that's Bryson and Jon Rahm. The rest of those guys are out of form, and they wouldn't be a factor week in and week out. So you got two guys. And if you look in these 3 years, just look at the strokes gained, ball striking, tee to green. Just look at the numbers. Even if those guys were in form, Scottie would have been on this run. He would have won this weekend with those guys in the field. He is, despite whatever argument there is that the field is this, that, and the other, he'd still be the guy. So it doesn't change that because it's only two guys. The rest of those guys are not in form. What this points out is the obvious thing that there aren't rivals in golf. It's a stroke play competition. It's about strokes. That's it. It's not match play. These guys show up in the majors and the same things happen. Scottie plays a C game and he's on the first page every time, no matter what. It's a matter of is he going to play good or great? Because if he does either, he's winning. So the historic run is still a historic run. It doesn't matter that two guys aren't in these elevated events anymore. I think it just shows that golf's in a weird spot for sure, but like his greatness is unmatched without a doubt. And I don't think it matters what happens with this merger potentially or each side fizzling out, whatever it is. The fields are weaker. That's why these things are boring. And it's a shame because we're missing out on how special it is what this guy's doing. I love it because he is, in my opinion, saving the game right now. If there was no Scottie Scheffler, we'd just have more Rory McIlroy, Jon Rahm, and I love that Bryson's become a player for the people, but I mean, those are the Three Stooges, brother. You know? They ain't going to save the game. I'm sure Bryson's doing great with his YouTube channel, but are we really talking about YouTube golf now? You know? That's where we're at with all this. This dude is putting on a performance from the ages, and he is just a humble family man of faith with no BS, dude. He's the savior. This guy's saving it right now. He's bringing back golf to what it should be. Golf. Instead of all these distractions and theatrics and tweets and fucking bullshit that it's all become. If you can't enjoy that, do you even really like golf? Or do you need reality TV? Because it sounds like you're missing reality TV, not golf. Scottie's a golfer, dude. That guy golfs. These other guys are a bunch of crybabies. You gotta love that. And the guy, under pressure, every time, flags it. This guy is flagging it all the time. That is as exciting as it gets. If you can't see that excitement, again, you like theatrics more than golf. That's what this is about. The general consumer is programmed to think, behave, and quite frankly, be entertained a certain way. Someone making his way around the golf course and just flagging it all day and hitting shots under pressure is not exciting for them anymore. That's sad.
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to everyone. You're towing that line for sure. I mean, I just listened to your take. Didn't sound like a golfer's take to me. It sounded like someone looking for some entertainment value. Those are two different things.
Pretty happy with yourself this episode?
Well, why?
We're not on video, but you're smirking and nodding along like, got him.
Oh, we're not on video? Oh, that's something that you haven't gotten better at. Really?
I'm not looking to be entertained. I'm looking for deeper fields.
Look at the whole live roster. Most of those guys would have lost their tour card by now. And, you know, if you knew golf more, you would realize that. But You're looking for entertainment here. Yeah, that's okay.
What'd you do yesterday?
Yesterday we took Palmer to the Lilo and Stitch movie.
Nice.
She loved it.
Cool.
It was sick.
Yeah, I bet. And shout out to Jordan Shores for being a part of that movie and that trailer that aired during the Super Bowl. I'm glad that you enjoyed that. So I was watching the golf, but I guess you know the golf better than me.
I watched some of it.
At Lilo and Stitch than I do watching it.
Well, I just heard your take, so it doesn't sound like you, after watching the golf, know as much about golf as I do. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you need to watch more. Maybe you should watch Live. Maybe you're missing out on those guys so much. God's telling you, you know, you can go catch those guys. You can go watch them.
Yeah.
No, what do you think?
No, I think I'd rather them just all get to one place.
Yeah, well.
And throw as much at this guy who's on this historic run as they possibly can. So I don't have to watch him dust the field every single week. A field of nobodies.
There's that emotion again.
I'm not emotional. Sitting here. I've been called monotone many times before.
It's a monotone of emotion.
YouTube comments. Listen anywhere you want. Comment only on YouTube. That is the only place we pull comments from.
Because we're
monetized. Chris V21 says, gentlemen, big thank you to the podcast and the videos on your YouTube channel.
Videos? We have videos?
The first 20 or so podcasts were on video.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And we went back. We're going back in time.
We have the match for the stash. We have live Christmas and Thanksgiving shows. Yeah, there are videos on the YouTube.
Yeah, you got to find them because there's a lot of thumbnails you got to flick through to get to them. You know.
Do you want to run the pod, the YouTube channel, the promotion of it?
I'm just running my mind, running my mouth.
Yeah. Let's go back to U-Band regular after this week and not U-Band dark roast. Chris V says, gentlemen, big thank you to the podcast and the videos on your YouTube channel, keeping me in stitches during a recent hospital stay.
Yikes.
My wife chuckled when she saw I packed my Nation and Engle surfboard tees. Far less chuckles when I told her to expect a couple of more boxes on the doorstep from the father, the son, and the smoking Tom while I was out. I hope my full-time viewing added to the 100th of a cent payouts from YouTube. Cheers to the fellowship.
Hey, we appreciate all of it. Every last drop.
Beautiful, beautiful comment. How about this guy who has been a longtime supporter, who's in the hospital using our YouTube channel to help him through whatever he was going through. And by the way, we hope that you're doing just fine now, Chris. And thank you for being a longtime supporter and a customer. And for packing Nation and Engle surfboard tees for the hospital. Tell your wife we said hello. And Godspeed on the recovery. And thank you for the wonderful comment.
God, I hate hospitals.
Do you?
Worst place. Just never fun. You just want to get out. You know, hope they get out soon.
Mm-hmm.
Get away from that place and go somewhere fun.
Yep.
End of story.
Justin Holland writes in, I would like the locker room tote mailed to my house for free overnight.
Wouldn't you?
That's a great comment, referring back to a story we told 2 weeks ago before we took the week off for the holiday about the freeloader that jumped into our DMs, wanted us to send him a bunch of gear for his golf trip. Mind you, this was a stranger asking for this stuff, and then he requested overnight shipping because the golf trip was starting in a matter of days from his request. Nice callback, Mr. Justin Holland. Vapor79 writes, quick comment on the freeloader story. The whole thing revolves around decency and its overall decline in the online world. Sure, the guy had no decency, and I enjoyed your much-needed advice to him, but never once did I see his handle and think about stalking him myself to pile on. Good on you for acknowledging the mistake of posting his handle, but it also says a lot that you even had to apologize for it.
I like that.
You good with that?
Do I have any choice?
Sure.
Okay.
Donald K. writes in, the only drink on the golf course worse than a Mick Ultra is a White Claw.
Yeah, when a can says alcohol instead of an actual spirit, that's where you know you've gone wrong.
Tony Bacardi says that you thinking pros should not be able to remove their ball from a divot. Tony Bacardi says, this is the lab putter of takes. Pelts and divots in fairways are fixed by agronomy teams after the round, so it's technically ground under repair. Golf is hard, and making it harder for no reason is like making your animal crackers fight before you eat them.
Keyword after the round. If you can't see the big picture here, I'm not gonna bark up that tree.
You better not bark up the tree of my partner for the Clash at Rams Hill.
Good luck.
Well, he broke his finger this weekend at another golf tournament.
Yeah, well.
If you open up Instagram and you see that there is some golf tournament happening within the southwest region of the United States, there is a 100% chance Tony Bacardi's at that golf tournament.
Yeah.
He went to a golf tournament at Brea Creek, or as I like to call it, the Crick. And now that Lars Lewis doesn't work there anymore, I have no issue airing out the Crick. That place sucks. And I don't know where Tony came from, if he came from Santa Barbara or Vegas or wherever else he might have been. But no disrespect to whatever golf club put on their event at the Crick, there is no world in which Mr. Bacardi, who lives 180 miles from the Crick, needs to be playing in a golf tournament at the Crick. And then he was at one in Vegas. And then he posted a story of a busted digit saying, I just broke my finger playing golf. To which I wrote to him, does that mean you're out for the Clash at Rams Hill? And what do you think he wrote back?
He wouldn't miss a tournament if he got his legs chopped off.
Yep, he just wrote back, no, I'm in.
The tournament thirst for that guy is real.
Insatiable.
Can't get enough. He's at one every day. Every day. How many golf clubs is he a part of?
I don't know. Good question. I'm going to guess he's a part of the Sandpiper Men's Club.
And he's probably part of Members Without Dues.
And he's definitely a part of others.
Yeah. I still think he probably finds his way into some Tropicana tournaments when he can.
Maybe.
And then any other, like, social media ones, like Slappy Gilmore and all that shit.
Yeah. Maybe a firefighters social club.
Yeah. A lot of golf.
A lot of golf.
Yeah, look, that little finger couldn't take it anymore.
My fingers hurt.
Don't talk about my partner that way.
Yeah, well, he probably hurt his finger because his ball was in a divot in the fairway and he had to get real steep on it,
My fingers hurt.
Lone Star Mike says, great take on preferred lies. All this talk about bifurcation with the ball rollback. I don't get the concession of lift, clean, and place. Why should we expect the best at the game to get it any easier?
You shouldn't. And plus, it goes into the whole gentleman aspect of the game. You get in a bunker, you find the love and the passion of raking it nice and leaving it better than you found it for the next guy. Same goes with divots. A lot of people put too much sand in divots. It's supposed to be just under the surface and low, so if a ball does get in there, you can play it correctly. Or in the PJ Tour, they replace them. You should do a good job with that. It's a part of your own personal respect, upkeep, and the respect for the field behind you. It's a big part of the game. And if you get an unlucky bounce, that's just the rub of the green. And it is the rub of the green. Just want to make that clear.
Did you watch any of the U.S. Women's Open?
I did yesterday. that place looked tough. They were putting balls off the green and
Yeah.
shit. It was wild. Almost a little too wild, but
Yeah.
that's what the USGA does. You know what? And I used to be a little weird about it, but now I'm like, fuck it. That's their thing. That's
Yeah.
their call card. Do it.
Yeah.
Let's watch the carnage. Whatever.
Yeah. I watched on Saturday and watched Nelly Korda just shoot 5 over on the front and took her, not because of her, but just the pace of play. It took her 3 hours to play 9 holes at 5 over. And I said, this is even a little sloggy for me.
Yeah. Pro golf in general is just, especially on Sunday, they got twosomes out there, dude. It should not be that slow. It's bad for TV. It's bad for the game. And we see it all the time. They're notorious for it. They're not helping themselves. You
Right.
know? They start their routine once the other guy hits. It's like, get your shit fucking handled. So it's just boom, boom.
Are we going to be able to work a normal day together after we just kind of went at it in the middle of that podcast?
Yeah, because I'm leaving.
Where are you going?
Going to Shape Boards.
That's it? You're
That's
done?
it, yeah. Well, I'm going to pack some orders. I'm the order packing guy around here, you know, so I'm going to do that. And then, leave you to it, you know.
Wow.
You can zoom your life away today.
Caught a few strays on the way out there. Nice, man. Jeez. I'm dotted up like Swiss cheese right now. Let me just sign off.
By the way, Swiss cheese, very underrated cheese.
It's a great cheese. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. I think the schedule gets a little weird coming up. You're in
Yep.
Idaho next week.
Yep. Maybe you should have a special guest.
John Wayne Freeman.
Ryan freaking Engle.
I might have Craig in here, and we'll do a little Catholic Protestant
Oh,
back
God.
and forth.
That'll be the end of this fucking show.
My name's Craig Dunlap. I'm the CEO, CFO, and head of HR for Nation Golf.
That'll be the end of me. I don't think I could win in a debate against Craig. Guy's the Pope of San Clemente.
Yeah.
Or San Juan, wherever he lives.
I'm just trying to eliminate the middleman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't need the middleman.
Take it easy. Let's just get out of here.
Let's get out.
Let's get out.
Okay.
All right. We'll
Good
talk
to see you guys.
Yep. Talk to you next Monday.